Today, we're going to break down the core wisdom of Naval Ravikant. He's this modern-day philosopher who says that both wealth and happiness, they're not things you find, they're skills you can actually learn. We're going to get into his playbook for mastering both, and it all starts with a pretty humbling idea.
You gotta love how Naval starts things off with a dose of perspective. This quote is such a powerful reminder not to take ourselves too seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure things out, right? And that sense of humility, it's really the foundation for his entire philosophy.
So who exactly is this guy, Naval Ravikant? Well, he's a super successful investor and entrepreneur for sure, but he's also become this philosopher for the digital age. And I think people are so drawn to his ideas because he doesn't just talk about getting rich, he lays out a roadmap for doing it, while also living a genuinely happy and peaceful life.
And look, he's got the credibility to back it all up. This isn't just some abstract theory. We're talking about a journey that took him from being a poor immigrant in New York to a pillar of Silicon Valley, where he built and backed some of the most influential companies of our time.
This right here is the absolute core of everything Naval talks about. He truly believes that wealth and happiness aren't about luck or where you were born. Nope, they're skills. And just like any other skill, they can be studied, they can be practiced, and eventually they can be mastered.
Okay, so let's dig into the first pillar, wealth. According to Naval, getting rich isn't about climbing the corporate ladder or just working harder at your 9 to 5. It's about understanding and applying a very specific set of skills and principles that actually generate wealth.
This distinction is absolutely key. See, money is just how we move wealth around. And status? Well, that's just a social game we play. But true wealth, as Naval defines it, is freedom. It's about owning assets, like a piece of a business or some code, that are making money for you even when you're not working.
Naval breaks it down into two completely different paths. When you have a regular job, you're basically renting out your time. Your income is directly tied to the hours you put in. Now, you can make a good living that way for sure, but you'll never get truly wealthy. To get that financial freedom, you have to own equity, a piece of the pie, so your earnings are no longer tied to your time.
So how do you even start building that equity? Well, it all starts with what Naval calls specific knowledge. This isn't something you can get a degree in. It's that unique thing at the intersection of your genuine curiosity and your natural talents. You have to ask yourself, what feels like play to me but looks like work to other people? That's your specific knowledge.
Okay, finding your specific knowledge is the foundation, but that's just step one. The next step is to amplify its impact, and you do that with something Naval calls leverage. Naval breaks leverage down into three main types. First, you've got labor. That's having people work for you. Then there's capital, using money to make more money. But the third type, which he says is the most powerful and accessible today, is products with no cost of replication. Think software or media, like a podcast or YouTube channel. And this idea is a total game changer. He calls it permissionless leverage, because you don't need anyone's permission to write code, start a blog, or post a video. These are incredibly powerful tools that are available to almost anyone, and they can work for you 24/7, helping you scale your specific knowledge to the entire world. Think about what that means. In an age where leverage is almost infinite, the quality of your decisions, your judgment, becomes way more important than how many hours you work. One great decision, multiplied by code or media, can literally create more value than a lifetime of grinding it out.
But here's the thing. Even if you completely solve your money problems, you might look up and realize you haven't solved your happiness problems. That's because, just like wealth, happiness is an internal skill. It's something you have to learn and practice.
This quote is a total mind-bender, right? Naval is suggesting that our constant desires, that voice in our head that says, I'll be happy when I get this, that's the very thing making us unhappy. We're literally signing a contract with ourselves to be miserable until some future condition is met.
So happiness isn't about adding more stuff to your life. It's actually a process of subtraction. It's about letting go of that constant feeling that something is missing. When you can just be present with what is, without needing to change it, you find peace. And that peace, that's the foundation of happiness. This is such a great way to think about it. The outer scorecard is a multiplayer game against billions of other people, a game you can never, ever win. But the inner scorecard, that's a single-player game. You're only competing against who you were yesterday, and the only opinion that matters is your own.
So how do you actually practice this skill?
It really comes down to building good habits. Simple, consistent things, Getting outside in the sun, moving your body every day, and being really intentional about who you spend your time with. These small things can dramatically raise your baseline happiness over time.
Okay, so we've got wealth on one side, happiness on the other. How do they connect? Well, it all boils down to one simple, incredibly powerful principle: playing the long game.
We've all heard about compound interest when it comes to money, right? Well, Naval's big idea is that this principle applies to everything in life. The biggest returns in your finances, your relationships, your health, your knowledge, they all come from compound interest. It's the magic of small, consistent efforts growing exponentially over time. You just have to be patient.
And this quote just nails it. It really captures the heart of his philosophy. Invest your time and energy in things and in people that offer compounding returns. Build a career, don't just get a job. Nurture deep, trusting relationships, not shallow, transactional ones. Always choose the game where the rewards get bigger the longer you play.
So I'll leave you with this final question, which really gets to the core of Naval's worldview. Look at every part of your life, your career, your relationships, your goals, and ask yourself this. Are you playing a zero-sum game, where for you to win, someone else has to lose? Or are you playing a positive-sum game, where you're creating value and everyone can win together? The answer might just determine the future of your wealth and your happiness.